prison, I'm the third ranking gang member in the state. I control contraband, I control knives, I control gang movement, I control a lot of stuff. So I wake up in my cell and I'm hungry. And as a prison boss, you get benefits. So I said, I'm hungry. I get up, walk out of my cell, get a guy a head nod. He opens the gate. I knock on the kitchen door. The guy slides the metal thing back. He looks, he sees it's me. Gave him a head nod. They open the kitchen door. Now I'm standing in the prison kitchen. I turn to the two guys over by the grill. I said, yo, make me a hamburger. Turn to the other guy, yo, go make me a shake. And I'm standing there chilling like, yo, okay, I'm about to eat. Then this guy comes out of the kitchen, suit jacket on. He says, what are you doing in my kitchen? He's screaming at me like, who are you? What are you doing in my kitchen? He said, who are you? I said, first, all this screaming you're doing is not necessary. We're grown men. We can communicate like grown men. I said, I'm the regulator. He says, well, what do you regulate? I said, if you go home or not. I regulate if you go home in a box or you walk out of here on your 2 feet. And he heard me and he's looking at me like to see if I'm joking, but I'm not joking. I'm like, dude, I can kill you right now. Right now, they're cooking me a hamburger. If I kill you, you'll be dead. Your wife will miss you. Your kids will miss you. I'll go to solitary confinement, maybe 5, 6, 7 years. And while I'm in solitary, I don't have a wife. I don't have kids. So my only dilemma, which is the question to you, do I get a hamburger today or do I give him 7 years? And he's looking at me like, oh my God. And he walked over to the grill. He said to the grill man, make him 2. What they didn't explain to him was prisoners run the prison. It was not me trying to be tough, but he was like in my way of what I wanted. And when people get in my way, you got to deal with it. The number one person in the penitentiary is a shot caller. The shot caller, not a shot caller. And I was like, I want to be the shot caller. And that was the goal. And I went on that quest and I made it from number 20,000 to number 3. Then I had an opportunity to become number 1. Because again, it's about how much work you put in, how much violence and carnage you can inflict. When I got a chance to be number 1, I just had to hurt a couple more people and I was there. And before I could do it, I had an argument with God. And God said, don't do this life choice. And me and God argued, but he won the argument. The way I explain it to people, it's like when Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz got to the end of the road and she wanted to get the tin hard and all the rest of the stupid stuff. She pulls the curtain back and the wizard's a fake. When I got to the end of the road and it was my chance to be the wizard, I pulled the curtain back and then I saw for what it was. It was all fake. This champion of champions is not champion of nothing. And I saw it for what it was, and God helped me realize that I picked a bad path and he was giving me another one. The number one most of the people in my life at a young age didn't understand my trauma. And trauma wasn't even a word in 1978. In kindergarten, all I needed was a hug and a sandwich. And what I got was a baseball, a basketball, and go outside. Boys don't cry. In middle school, I just needed someone to get me some clean socks and not make me feel bad about being a free lunch kid. What I got was boys don't cry, get it the best way you can. In high school, I wanted to be a trumpet player. I love playing the trumpet. I was a musician. What I got is that stupid. Black folks don't do it. We don't roll like that. Oftentimes people say, hey, what about the music, Dre? The music is killing the kids. My son listens to trap music, rap music, and everything else, but to him it's entertainment because his mother's a doctor, his father's an interventionist. So that for him is entertainment. Whereas for myself and kids like me, it was a guide. How do we live? How should we strive? Because we didn't have those role models and those expectations being set for us. As a young man without a father, you look for father figures. When I was a young kid, 12 years old, Dominic's the biggest guy in our neighborhood. He represented our neighborhood, so therefore he represented us in the street world. And when I went to prison, I got a chance to hang out with Dominic. He was that guy I looked up to, subconsciously made him a father figure. We all look for father figures. Sometimes you get lucky enough to get a football or basketball coach, or you get a track coach, or you get a teacher or something, and finding that coach can supplement not having a dad. Those of us who make the mistake of picking criminals as our de facto dads, we follow that path. I was 13 when Dominic got arrested and sent to jail for murder. And we used to sit around at 13 years old around the mailbox and wonder what Dominic was doing. We started talking about maximum security penitentiary at 13. I wonder what Dominic's doing. And we talked about it until we got there. I manifested it in my life because I started talking about the penitentiary, that specific place, at 13. And at 18, I was there next to Dominic. As a young man, trouble, assault, stabbings, I was that guy. There's a lot of people who have a perception of me. And it's an honest perception. I created it. And then when I turned my life around, they thought I was gaming the system. Dre ain't changed. He's just scamming. So when I made parole, people were shocked. The only way they can lose my parole is if I get in a fight or something. What I had done was doubled up all my programs. I said, this is my last chance to get it right. I did these programs to stay out, not to get out. But there were some guards and some administrators who didn't like me based on how I treated them earlier. Cell I was in, put me in a cell with a guy they thought I didn't like. They didn't know we had worked it out prior. So we get in the cell together and they're hoping that we get in a fight. When that doesn't happen, they move me to another unit that I used to be in before and I got in trouble. They gave me every chance to mess up. And I refused to accept that chance. I stayed true to who I was. And there was an Orthodox Jewish rabbi who became one of my mentors. And I started having OGs in the prison who were on positive stuff became mentors. And I had people giving me guidance. They call it coaching in the free world. But I had guidance. Listened to my coaches. I listened to my guides. And I didn't feed in to the negativity that was offered to me. When I wanted to change my life, Natan Schaefer, who was chaplain at the prison, when nobody else would come within 100 feet of me, this man sat with me and he coached me and he educated me. He taught me respect. He taught me accountability. He taught me how to be human. Of all the people I met prior to Natan, nobody had taught me how to be human. They taught me how to crush, kill, destroy, not cry, handle the pain. They taught me it's not the one who inflicts the most pain, but who can endure the most pain, who wins. All this madness they taught me. He taught me to be loving. He taught me to be caring. He taught me that I was a vessel of good. And then the people who fed into me, even though I didn't deserve it, there was a CEO named Rob Henderson. He let me into the anger management block. When people didn't want to come near me because of my status, he gave me a shot. He said, man, move in the anger management block. I think it'd be good for you. And he let me in. He took some heat for it, but I went in there and I crushed it. I was in the block for probably like 3 months. And the first time in the history of this program, they went to the warden and said, can we hire this man? He's that good. They said, you can't hire prisoners. But Rob Henderson gave me a shot. Natan gave me a shot. Sister Ruth and Sister Kathleen gave me a shot. There's a guy named Pat Dempsey, a Catholic volunteer, used to come in every week and sit with me. And he gave me a shot. There were so many people who gave me a chance when I was technically undeserving. And so when I got free, when I got loose, and I got on my path to success, I'm going to tell you the one thing that Natan taught me. Success is not a success without a successor. So if you're not helping someone else become successful, you're not successful, you're just lucky. Popping up. The people who are losing their loved ones are living in the inner cities, most of them. You need them at the table. Stop with the advocates. Don't bring the advocates of the families. Bring the families. Bring the people. Let them tell you how they feel. Let them tell you what they want for a solution. All these third-party people are giving you third-party answers that are mixed in with their agenda. And it's sad, and it's unfair, and it's not healing people. Let the families who lost loved ones be the spokespeople. Well, they don't know how to talk right. Well, teach them. Let them speak for themselves. And then you get resolution. So how do you have 7 people die in a prison riot? So how do you stop people from killing each other? You lock them in their cells and you don't let them out. That's the only way to guarantee nobody dies. Don't let them out their cells. Well, 5 months went by. They're like, well, what do we do now? I don't know. We keep them locked in because as long as they're locked in, nobody's dying. That was the plan. The director of the prison system, he sat down with me. He said, hey, will you come to South Carolina? I was like this big time YPO speaker flying around the world, super busy. He said, where's your commitment to the people? Canceled my speeches, flew to South Carolina. And we went to the prison where the riot was. And we went to the first cell. We talked to 2 guys, went to the second cell, I'm like, yo, this is going to take forever. You got 2,000 people in this prison. I said, open the doors. He said, man, they're going to kill each other. What are you going to do? I said, my God is bigger than their demons. Open the door. 300 guys came walking out of their cells. First time. They got their knives, they got their stuff. Dude said, who the hell are you? Some motherfucker that got your door open. That's who the hell I am. And we had a conversation about their attitudes, their behaviors, their wants, their dreams, their families. And we had a conversation about freedom, about going home and being successful. Over 6 days, we spoke at 10 prisons. We spoke to 8,000 prisoners coming out of their cells for the first time in 5.5 months. Not one fight, not one stabbing, not one problem. Then the director came to me after and said, well, can you come and set up a program? We're going to take former gang members and give them charge of a housing unit full of gang members. Everybody thought it was crazy. For more the reasons he couldn't. He said, well, we got to do something. And I believe in Andre. And we moved in. We took over a housing unit. We moved all the gang leaders into one unit, and we started running programs. We started bringing all the books. No more garbage training. We're bringing the best of the best, the philosophies, the understandings, the insight, and then we're eating it up. We've never been given the best trainings. We've never been given best information. We've only been given stuff to keep us incarcerated and oppressed. It was misdirection. It was confusing. There was a CO in another unit, not ours, being attacked by an inmate. Situation happened. He's in the process of being killed. And one of the guys from my program ran over and saved his life. He said, I stand for what's right, and I'll die for what's right. All we did as a program was expand who he considered right or wrong. And maximum security prison is a whole nother world. It's scary. First time in, you should be scared to death. People get raped, people get beaten, people get stabbed, people get murdered, people get tortured daily. So when I got there, I was scared. They called me down to the unit team. Nice caseworker sat me down and said, hey, you can go get your GED. You can learn how to drive a forklift. You can do all this other stuff, and you can make your time work for you. So at 1 o'clock, I'm lining up to go to school. And Dominic and the guys pulled up and like, where you going? We're going to the yard. I'm going to school. I'm about to get my GED, my forklift degree. And they're like, oh, you got the white lady story. What are you talking about? He said, you see them guys over there? They're going to come beat it out of you. You know why? Because you're a loner. You see the CO? He's going to have no respect for you. You know why? Because you're a loner. You can go with the caseworker who's not going to help you. You can come roll with us, and we're going to hold you down to make sure you're safe. I took your little handbook, flipped it in the trash, grabbed me a knife, and I went out to the yard. I didn't look back. If you put me back in that same unit at the same time, even with all the skills I have now, I'd have signed up. Because you can't beat the mob. Whether it's white, black, or Spanish, one man can't beat 20. I don't care how good you fight. Looking back at that particular situation, day one in the penitentiary, I'm signed up for the gang again. 100% no blink. Because that's how you're going to survive. You can't go to school if your jaw's wide shut. You're not going to forklift class if you got holes punched in your chest. It's not going to work. So you have to be safe before anything can actually transpire. And safety comes from Roosevelt High School in St. Louis. St. Louis, Missouri was deemed the most violent city in America. Roosevelt was in the most violent section of the city. And these are the kids from the most poor and violent neighborhoods, all in one building. And there was a family, Dave Spence and Susie Spence, who had committed to helping this school. They'd been down there for 4 or 5 years, every day, giving their heart and soul to the school. They cared. They had the resources for making that internal connection at a level where the gang members were at. They couldn't make that connection. So when Susie saw me, she demanded, she said, you're coming with me and you're going to help me save this school. I didn't go because the school had a problem. I went because she had committed her life to it. And her commitment inspired my commitment. I went into the school. I can see things that they can't. I walked around that school the same way I walked around the prison. I looked for every glitch that allowed me to smuggle contraband, every glitch that allowed me to make a knife, every glitch that allowed me to hide something, every glitch that didn't allow a kid to learn, every glitch that stopped a kid from progressing. And I wrote those glitches down. Then I took the list back to Susie and we went over the list and we started patching those glitches up. One thing they had in the hallways was security guards because there's a lot of violent kids here. We got rid of some of the security guards. We got substitute teachers in the hallway. So instead of being confronted by a police teachers in the hallway. So instead of being confronted by a police officer who doesn't do academics, who doesn't do learning, they do law enforcement. Now you're being confronted by a substitute math teacher, a substitute history teacher who has a whole different perspective and engagement process, whole different dialogue, whole different connotation. And that fosters a different relationship. Some of the kids going home from school had to go through gang territories and they were getting robbed and beat. I went out and talked to the gang leader. I walked the path. I said, okay, this gang runs this block. I went up to the leader and said, yo, Mike, check this out. I got these kids from the school that need to get home. Can you let them come through? He said, you're the first person that ever came and talked to me. They put a police car out here for a day or two, run us off the block. They put another police car out here, run us off the block. Nobody's ever came and talked to me. They don't see him as human. I saw him as a human. I understood him. I said, bro, this is what I'm asking. From 4 to 6, my kids get a pass. After 6, hands off. It's all yours. He said, cool. We shook hands and that was it. We told the kids, make your way through. Don't be lollygagging, hanging out. This is gang territory. You know the strip. Communication. Whether it's with a gang leader or a principal or a school superintendent, whoever it is just having honest communication. Roosevelt High School in St. Louis. I can go right now to a local elementary school. We know right now every gang member, every murderer, every drug dealer, every drug user, 10 years from now is sitting in elementary school right now. They're in K1 and K2 as cute as they want to be. And they're sitting there innocent. And we know what's going to happen because it's been happening forever and ever. We can tell you where the schools are coming from. We know exactly where the school that's going to produce the next killer is. Exactly where the school that's going to produce the next drug dealer is coming from. It's all the inner city public schools. If you walk around any penitentiary and say, where did you go to school? It's going to be a public school. 99.9% of the people in prison went to a public school. And if they're black, they went to an inner city public school. So this is not a secret. This is not any rocket science. We know right now there's a whole classroom full of K1 kids that if we don't reach them, at some point they're going to reach out and touch us. We can go down and support that endeavor of educating and supporting that kid at that level versus waiting for them to turn 16 or 17 and start spending $50,000 a year to incarcerate them. My son's going to go to Stanford. Stanford's $50,000. Stanford's cheaper than some prisons to house people. Florence ADX costs more than $50,000 a year. Pelican Bay costs more than $50,000 a year. We're paying more to incarcerate people than it would to put them in college, the best colleges. And we know where they're coming from. They're not coming from Mars. They're not coming from outer space. They come from the inner city, K1s and K2s. I would love to see a group of soccer moms, white ladies from the suburbs, pull up on an inner city school and demand that they teach those kids. Go in there and help them. I've been to enough suburbs. Policing works in the suburbs. The education system works in the suburbs. Why can't those who run the suburban schools or have the PTAs and those folks come across the bridge, come across the train tracks? If you're scared of 18-year-old big black guys with machetes, cool. Go to K1 and help them early.